On February the 8th, Canon released firmware 1.1.1 for the Canon EOS R3. Sure, we get some minor enhancements and some bug fixes, but really it was pretty much a yawn. And judging by your response, you thought the same. So that caught the attention of several R5 owners, and I literally mean several. This wasn't a big deal. I haven't seen it on the forums. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. And I've been owning the R5 since it came out, the very first day it came out. I've shot over 700 videos for this channel. I've shot it for personal events, for personal videos, personal films. I've used this camera almost daily. And I can think of maybe a handful of times where it's frozen, and where it has frozen is when I've been pushing storage or it's related to storage. And I think it just has to do with Canon's, how they handle standard error messages. But in terms of overall performance when shooting, when I'm using this camera, generally it's before me, I'm not having any issues with it. According to a Canon service rep, Canon has already acknowledged this phenomenon in question and is now planning to correct the firmware. Once the countermeasure firmware is ready, we will make an announcement on our website. But this leads me to the real topic I want to talk about here, because, fixing where the camera freezes in some very rare situations, it's still nice, because the more we can get to that 5 nines of reliability, the better we feel. When you're out there, you don't have to worry about the camera screwing up on you, and that's a good thing. But that leads me to the next firmware update for the Canon R5. What could we possibly see? What new features could they add? If we go back to about July, August of last year, we had several rumors and announcements from Canon indicating what we were going to see in a future firmware update. And I remember one of the items being 120 frames per second in 1080, bringing that, and we got that. Improving record times, we got that. Removing the 30-minute record limit, we still don't have that. So that's something I still pray for. Fingers crossed. Rub my tummy, tap my head kind of thing. Whatever it takes to get that 30-minute record limit removed, it's just silly. And we know they can do it. It's just somebody is stubborn. Somebody is stubborn at Canon, and eventually it's going to go, but I don't know if it's going to be in a future firmware update. I don't know if it's going to be in the next firmware update, but it's the one big thing that we could certainly appreciate. Other things, what else? Oh yes, Canon Log 3. We were promised Canon Log 3, and we got that. And to me, that has got to be one of the biggest things in the firmware update since the R5 came out. Being able to shoot in Canon Log 3 is great. But being able to edit Canon Log 3 is so much better. I was struggling with editing C-Log 1. No matter how well I exposed or shot the video, I always struggled. And it's kind of like as you get older, this guy here, and you're reading things on the screen, you start to get headaches, your eyes get a little sore, and before you realize it, you need glasses. And once you get those glasses, the whole world changes. That's what I feel Canon Log 3 did to the R3. And if you're not shooting with Canon Log 3 on the R3, you're just shooting 8-bit, when you've got some time, try it out. You're going to love it. And if you have any questions about how to not grade, choose a LUT and apply the right LUT, reach out to me, because choosing the right LUT makes a huge difference too, because it simplifies the process. So we got a lot of great things and firmware updates. So what are we going to get in the next one? Well, like I said, I'd really like to see that 30-minute record limit removed. I would like to see waveforms, or even the histogram not to go away when we press the record button. So there's really two things. Not to have these capabilities go away when we press the record button, such as the histogram, but give us waveforms. And come on, give us a color waveform. It would be really, really nice. And make it so it takes up a good part of the screen. Allow us to choose small, medium, and large. Give us that capability. It's huge. You've built a truly amazing camera, Canon. Give us those waveforms. Or just one. We'd be happy with one waveform. What else? Well, new codecs. We were promised that we might get some new codecs. I think asking for Apple ProRes is a bit of a stretch, and I really can't see that happening. But still, being able to shoot in Apple ProRes would be amazing. I mean, Canon, Nikon does it. Remember your nemesis, Nikon? They have it. Oh, and your other nemesis, Sony? Yeah, sometimes I think there's a bit of that going on. There's Canon versus Canon. But Sony, they don't have record limits in any of their cameras. So Canon, you got to It's silly now. And another thing I would like to see too, which I do think this is far more realistic to see in the next firmware update or next couple of firmware updates, and that's a support for the GUID partition table. Because with GPT support, what we'll be able to do is use CFexpress cards larger than 4 terabytes. And this is very significant. The 1DX Mark III, the Nikon Z9, you guys have 2 CFexpress card slots. So if you buy two 2-terabyte cards, it gives you 4 terabytes of capacity. And you've got the choice, you know, I can record to one, and then when that's full, I can record to the other, or you can record to both at the same time. You've got lots of options. But with a Canon R5, I can get a 2 terabyte, and then I can put a 1 terabyte SD card in the other one and use it for backup, but I'm limited to the modes that I can shoot in. To be able to put in a 4 terabyte or even larger. Right now, there's only one company out there that has a 4 terabyte CFexpress Type B card, and that's Angelbird, and it's only available for pre-order right now. This is the 4 terabyte CFexpress card that Angelbird is going to start shipping in March. It's available for pre-sales right now, and what I've got is a pre-production or engineering sample. I know what you're thinking, so you can't use it in your camera either. Well, I can put it in there and I can format it and I can get up to 2 terabytes of use. But what's the point of doing that? I've already got a 2 terabyte which is in there right now. So what I'm doing with this to test it out, to run it through its paces, believe it or not, I'm actually using this to edit all my videos. This video, my review video of the Angelbirds, and a lot of my personal stuff are being edited on this 4 terabyte CFexpress card. And it's fast. It's just, when you look at the size of this thing here and you realize there's 4 terabytes on it, all the information on here, it's just absolutely staggering. And I have no problem running it on there. It's got the speed. It's got a minimum sustained write speed of 1,300 megabytes per second. It's got high endurance and reliability, so I have no problem using this. It's probably better equipped to do the editing than my Samsung Evo 4 terabyte, because that isn't really designed for continuous high-speed recording. It isn't designed for thrashing it all the time while you're editing video. It's more designed for general purpose use as an operating system disk, and they work very well for that. That's why I buy Samsungs, but for video editing, not the best. And if you do like Samsung too and you want to use them for video editing, I highly recommend getting the Pro version. Don't edit on the Evos, and don't use them in your Ninja too. I use, it's down here, I use these Angelbird Atom X. It's a metal casing, and what it helps do is draw the heat away from the Ninja, which gets very, very hot. So it can actually reduce the temperature ever so slightly. Using a Samsung Evo or even a Pro on the back, because it's plastic, it actually helps build up heat. And if you don't believe me on this, reach out to Atomos and ask them what they recommend, and ask them what can happen if you use the Samsung Evo or Pros on a regular basis because of that plastic shell, and what happens. Just go ahead and ask them, and you're going to find out there's an awful lot of support issues, and it's one of the reasons why they bundle the Atom X, because it's purpose-built for the Ninja 5. So that gives you my wish list for the firmware update coming up next. It doesn't sound super exciting yet, I know. I think it's just more minor fixes and enhancements. But I'm hoping Canon Rumors, Canon News, somebody out there has some sort of a pulse on what the next firmware update is going to be, because we haven't had anything since around a year ago. We had a really amazing roadmap. So I'd love to get a roadmap out there, find a roadmap somewhere, and as soon as I find out what that roadmap is, I'll let you know. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Actually, I want to talk to you about one more thing behind the scenes. I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm exhausted. So for the last 2 days, I've been shooting, because I'm doing a review of the Angelbird AV Pro and AV Pro XT. I've got 3 of their AV Pros, the 4, 2, and 1 terabyte. I've got the 660 AV Pro XT. The first day was just spent, well, shooting B-roll, getting product shots, and it took a while because this surface here is very challenging. You can see by just me moving it a little bit, it reflects light a lot. And when I had 4 of them lined up side by side, the one on the right was extremely overexposed, or that was the impression because of the way the light hit it from an angle. The other 2 were perfect, and then the one on the other side became a little bit, well, underexposed. And it's just because of that reflective coating. It's very similar to a metallic paint. And it looks great. It looks great when you hold it, but trying to shoot B-roll or product roll for that is very, very difficult. But then yesterday was my day where I start to shoot some of the major scenes. I've already got a lot of the things scripted. The one thing I haven't shot yet is the testing piece and the conclusion, because I need the testing done before I can do the conclusion. Oh, it was rough. I forgot to turn one of the lights on, and I looked at it and I thought, should I reshoot? And I thought, you know what? I want to do this right. They've sent me a lot of cards. I want this to look right. I want to do it right. So I reshot it, and 10 minutes into reshoot, I looked down. I looked at my task cam. It wasn't recording. I forgot to press record. It didn't help that I was tired as well, and I spent, I don't know how many hours, probably 2 hours just trying to get about 15 minutes of video. Just super exhausted. So finally around 9 o'clock, I stopped with the editing. I was pretty happy with where I got to in editing. And when I do the editing, you go through, you see things you didn't see before, and it gives you an idea of what things you need to reshoot or how to film the testing and the conclusion. It's just you're mulling things over in your head. And then for whatever reason, I couldn't sleep last night. Now I saw this news, and I also saw the news about the OM1, the Olympus WOW camera, and I was getting ready to record both videos, and I thought I'll do them first thing in the morning. I was too tired to do it last night, and I couldn't sleep. I almost decided if I can't sleep, I'll record the videos, but those don't usually work out so well. I decided to shoot the Canon video first and maybe leave the OM one, because the OM one isn't anything that can't be solved by just looking at a picture, and we're just 2 days away or a day and a half away, so I didn't really see the point to doing that video. I mean, everyone can read, well, this is where the strap goes, this is where the Olympus badging goes, and yes, the Olympus name is right front and center on the camera, and so is OM Systems on the camera as well. So I thought, let's not do that, get this out of the way first thing early in the morning so I can have a relatively normal Sunday, and then once I start to perk up a little bit, start to wake up a little bit, which this video should help with, then I start editing the review video a little bit. I'm at about 7.5, 8 minutes of 12 minutes already, and that was 40 minutes when I started yesterday. So once I go through it and do an entire pass, then I'm going to go back and see what parts I can pull out, because I think once I shoot the testing piece and the conclusion, it's going to look north of 16 minutes, and to me that's a bit too long. So I have to go through and see, okay, well, what pieces can I pull out without really changing the overall feel? So you can expect that review video to come out probably towards the end of the week. There's still lots to do on it. It's just it's amazing. A video like this probably takes no more than an hour to edit and put up there. Once they go over 10 minutes, it takes longer. And if it's under 5 minutes, I can do it in half an hour. But a review video is in multiples of 15 more than that. It's usually a minimum of 15 hours to do a video, and they can go up to 30 hours quite easily, depending on how much product shots and testing you have to do, or general thinking and strategy around it. It's really amazing how much effort goes into it. But thank you so much for tuning in to watch. I hope you're having a great weekend. I was going to go off to the bank because it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, and it's minus 19 right now, going up to a high of minus 12. So it's sunny, so maybe I'll take my son out once it warms up, go out and get something for my wife. Could have done it the other day, but my son had a bit of a problem. He basically was running really fast, hit this other child, basically her forehead into his mouth. She got teeth in her forehead, and he got to lose some teeth early, so kind of distracted us. And of course, my wife's birthday was on Friday. I know I'm making excuses, but excuses don't matter if I come through tomorrow, so I better get out there and take care of that a little later. But thank you so much for tuning in to watch. Have yourself a great Sunday. Yeah, and yeah, don't forget Valentine's Day tomorrow. Don't overthink it. You know, Valentine's Day is one of those days where, you know, if you're kind of there all year round, you don't have to go crazy on Valentine's Day. In fact, sometimes it's better to just do something at home, because it's not a very happy place going to the restaurant. Say change everything. Well, it used to. I don't know about now with the way things are going on, but they make the tables smaller. They put them more tables in a room. You see couples there. A lot of them aren't happy. It's just a very tense environment. And I think Valentine's Day is one of those days where you kind of practice it throughout the year. So on the day of, it's just a little something. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.